This is the Neoliberal Round Podcast. Welcome to another episode of the Neoliberal Round Podcast. I am Renaldo McKenzie, and of course the Urban Indian Heritage Society is with me, and I'm happy to have today on the Neoliberal Round Podcast. We discuss not only the historic federal recognition of the Lumbee tribe as America's 575th federally recognized American Indian tribe, but also the work of the Urban Indian Heritage Society, an organization that has spent years advocating for indigenous visibility, recognition, education, and reclassification efforts in the U.S. Of course, Congress passed Senate Bill S-107, if I'm right. Dr. Nolan is here with me, along with Phoenix Moon, and they are Phoenix is the founder of the Urban Indian Heritage Society, and of course, Dr. Nolan Fontaine is the president of the society as well. They've been on the show before, and one of the reasons why we have them is to talk about this Bill S-107, known as the Lumbee Act. Of course, in December 2025, after decades of struggle, they passed this bill. The Lumbee people had already been recognized by the state of North Carolina as early as 1885, often referred to as the people of dark water. So, of course, Phoenix, the founder of Urban Indian Heritage Society, joins me with Dr. Nolan, the co-founder. We're going to discuss this recognition, the role the society played in helping support this initiative, and indigenous identity in America, and of course, the battle of I did some research while preparing for this interview, and I saw that the Lumbee tribe, I think they fought off the KKK in the battle called the Haste Pond. I don't know if that is right. But we're gonna, and of course they have, and the relationship between them and African Americans in terms of the role they play in providing any kind of shelter, if I'm right. But the organization also have a petition regarding indigenous misclassification. So what comes next for the Urban Indian Heritage Society? Let's talk about that quickly with them. So first, Phoenix, welcome back to the show. Dr. Nolan, welcome back to the show. How are you guys?
Oh, I am well. I am well. Thank you. How are you? Good to be back.
Yeah, I am great.
Well, fantastic, Ronaldo.
Yeah, man,
Great day in their country.
everything Irie. I don't know if that's Indian, but that's Jamaican. Everything Irie.
Nah, it's West Indian. We get that too.
West Indian, yeah.
We get that too.
And of course, we're gonna have them come to to one of my classes to talk about Indian heritage or urban Indian heritage. But first, I want to ask about the Urban Indian Heritage Society itself. Um, and I want to hear about the organization and how integral you guys have been over the last. What's been going on with the Urban Indian Heritage Society? What's been the latest with you guys?
Man, John.
Yes, yes. First, I want to. What's been going on? What's been happening with the? Well, the first question is. Well, the first question. I want to know what's been up with you guys. How is Urban Indian Heritage today? What are you guys up to today? Of course, we're gonna get into the Lumbee tribe, what it personally mean. But I wanted to find out what's been up, what's been going on. How are you guys? What projects are you guys working on so far lately?
Well, it's always a busy time at UIHS. Uh, I think one of the main things that you know you probably would have been familiarized with at this time is what we've been doing regarding the Urban League.
Yeah.
So back in, I want to say that was February, Phoenix, UIHS sent a letter to the Urban League regarding their hand within misclassification and overt ethno nullification, where at their, I believe that was 1964 general meeting, actually here in Philadelphia, that they overtly voted and switched the term Indian to colored. And that was through a public-private partnership. But I don't know if you have family here yet in the States, Ronaldo, but I know for sure my family wasn't consulted. Phoenix family wasn't consulted. A lot of people's family wasn't consulted. So we put them on notice to, come to the table and be able to share their side of the story, be able to share primary source documents, so that, we can turn this from a, into a learning lesson versus the mistake that they made. Because what they did was, where they made the mistake was, they never thought that the urban Indians would come up on them like the Scooby Doo detective agency and figure out and put the pieces together to know what they did. Right?
Oh, that's major.
So
Isn't there is that the same urban league that's in Philadelphia, Center City?
There are in major cities across the United States. Um, for a good deal of time, about 7 decades, maybe six, at least 6 or 7 decades. Not only that, but at this current time, if people are paying attention, the Southern Poverty Law Center, they are also being reprimanded for fraud, right? They have not only been, stirring up problems with the race baiting and the black and white and all of the hate groups. They have named all of the people that they deemed as hate groups, whether they're violent or not, but they have the say in slandering different groups for whatever reason. Some groups may need to be there, and then maybe there's some that don't. However, they are also in conjunction and have dealings with the Urban League. So now it's an opportunity to expose these people for some of the hand that they played in on this classification, the gentrification, and all things going forward. The Urban League is responsible for the buildings. I believe the second time they did the Lower East Side, they had to move people from over there in order to build. I don't know if it was Lincoln Center. It was one of these different, sightseeing places that people are familiar with when they come to New York City. But anyway, this was complicit for things for decades, and they get the lion's share of all of the grants, and their influence with the Office of Management and Budget, which controls which is run through the Department of Commerce and the Census, and that is where classification is explained and expressed. So Urban League they're up to their neck in a lot of stuff, and we are not letting it stop.
Oh, this is quite interesting. I think didn't Frederick Douglass is associated with was in some reason associated with the Urban League, and the Urban League they have a club or a society, a club in a building in Philadelphia, a hotel in Philadelphia, in Center City, right across from that famous statue there. Is that the same Urban League? That you have to pay thousands of dollars to be a part of that, to be a part of their club. Is that the same one?
Yes, they have branches, and that branch, I believe that you're talking about, is close to like 13th or like close to Broad Street.
Yes.
Yes. So that is one of the branches, and that would have been the host chapter in 1964 that did the misclassification, right? Where they switched Indian to colored.
Oh, is that?
Excuse me, Indian to Negro.
Indians to Negro. Okay, so it's not Indians to color, but Indians to.
Douglas might have been gone by then. The Urban League was established during the same time as Birth of a Nation and other things that were detrimental to people of color in this country. Definitely Indian. This is 2 years prior to Walter Tucker in Virginia, and about 1910. right? So we're looking at a time where they're also recreating, and we have a lot of people coming in through Ellis Island from European nations. People that got here and they were Broomhild or Schwarzenheimer, and now 150 years later, they're Willie Mae Jenkins.
Right, and oh wow, this is
Right. How you come over here, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, and then now you Walter Jones? Make it make sense.
oh, so the urban Indian heritage. They were hailed. I think the Temple University Department. Dr. Okur, who is one of the graduate advisors at Temple, she had. We actually did some work at the Urban Indian League. They were talking about how they were integrally involved in the fight for freedom and getting and universal suffrage for African Americans. But now you are saying that they are also responsible for the misclassification of Indians. Yes, this is interesting news. Now,
Yes.
okay, wow. So now, one of the next
Absolutely complicit.
complicit. So I mean that this is I'm looking forward to hearing what's going to happen. But the Urban Indian League, they're kind of they're a powerful institution. It seems I understand a lot of billionaires and very wealthy. You have to be very wealthy to be part of that organization. How do you guys? How are you guys going to be able to meet with these people and have a conversation with them? Do you believe that they are going to be open to it? This a lot of powerful people and red tape you're going to have to go through with these people.
Well, I think that they are going to, try and avoid the confrontation for as long as they can until, hopefully someone will participate and, have a conversation.
Okay, we'd love to.
We have to have a conversation.
Yeah, we would like to hear some more about that and the work. Please, is that in conjunction with the petition that you have regarding the misclassification of people in America? There's a bill that you have. I mean, I didn't want to talk about that yet, but since you're talking about how the Urban League have been a part of misclassifying Indians as and including them as colored people or Negroes, calling them Negroes, is that part of what you guys are doing in terms of the petition?
That is a component only because we explain exactly what happened and what parties were involved and what we're asking for. We are looking for restitution and repair, not reparations.
Okay.
Or a handout either, for that matter, right?
Yes.
So it's really clear. We want some respect. There are a few R's that we want: restitution, respect, restoration. We deserve that. And we can put the truth right alongside the lies that they've already have posted up.
And on the matter of
For those that know the truth,
yeah, go ahead.
remember to start bringing it forward.
And on the matter of recognition, by the way, I should say congratulations on the historic moment as it relates to the recognition, the federal recognition of the Lumbee tribe. What does that tell me a little bit about that? What does that mean broadly? And what does that mean? And of course, my follow up question is, well, I have a follow up question to that. But what does that mean broadly? The federal recognition of the Lumbee tribe, what does that mean to you guys personally, and to indigenous communities more broadly?
Well, I think it's a long time coming, and it was a fight for me. I do have Lumbee ancestry.
Okay.
Shout out to my Loweries and Locklears, right? Yes, indeed. I'm related to the big homie.
Yeah, definitely mentioned some of your cousins when we went.
I mentioned them in my grievance and my statement and my testimony on behalf of the Lumbee. And shout out to Afeni Shakur, because if she was alive and her and Pop was here, it'd be Lumbee now.
And of course, I know you got the Urban Indian Heritage Society played some role in helping to support and lobby for this recognition. What are some of the things that you guys did?
We sent our testimony to Congress, to Senate. Doc was actually there. Dr. Nolan was actually there in D.C. at the, live in person. Our participation was definitely important. It was definitely important. And noted in congressional record.
And of course, I spoke. And of course, I spoke with Dr. Nolan recently. You talked about that, and I did review the document Congress passed S-107 in December 2025. But North Carolina recognized the Lumbee people in 1885. Now, I want to know, why did it take over a century for a federal recognition to finally happen? What you guys? Why did it take so long?
Well, because a lot of people, they had to close the doors for a long time. They had to maintain the land, and also they maintained their self-sufficiency, self-governance, right? They have their own culture, and they are very much Cherokee and very much Tuscarora.
Okay.
But they are now Lumbee. Their names were changed from 1885. They had several name changes from, and then conflict with the Eastern Band Cherokee. And then they were called the Cherokee of Robeson County. Or Robeson, and they had all these different names and things like that. But one thing that they don't talk about is 6 decades of records at the Department of Interior. So for them to do this through, outside of the BIA, it was huge. And this is why you had federally recognized tribes, that were in disagreement with the decision, and they were openly in disagreement, which is a bit unfair, even down to tribes that came in the exact same way they did, through an act of Congress.
Right.
So it was very shady how they did it, and I'm glad that we contributed to their success and their recognition. It was important for them. And at any time, the Lumbee, they don't play. And what's good about them is they open up the doors and they have the numbers. And other tribes that are federally recognized do feel threatened. People can easily find their Lumbee ancestry preserved. There is a process. They make you take classes, and you have to know the history. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I think that was a threat to other federally recognized tribes. And it was brilliant that they were added to the defense bill in spite of those other people in disagreement.
Okay, and
one thing,
go ahead.
And Renaldo, one thing I wanted to add that Phoenix absolutely pointed out is the Indian tribes absolutely operate like nations, and now that the Lumbee, has recognition, right? Because a part of this was actually, like you said, the fairness of it all. Them not having access to certain services. So one of the things that Phoenix made very apparent is that in terms of population and everything, the Lumbee absolutely dwarfs some of these longer tribes that have recognition and that have kind of crept up and put on the sexy negligee to get in bed with the BIA, right?
Yeah.
So this absolutely threatens some tribes' level of sovereignty, and also the amount of federal dollars that they get versus the amount that the Lumbee would get too. So this is absolutely a conversation that also touches on the political, economic structures, right, that exist and that the Lumbee are beginning to challenge, right? And let's not forget that the Lumbee also have claims in terms of their heritage to geographical areas, right? And how some of these tribes, and you can read it. I'm not. It's in the document that I sent you, Renaldo. It's in the Indian Senate video on S-107 with the Lumbee Fairness Act of the Shawnee and the Eastern Band Cherokee overtly trying to stymie the Lumbee from getting recognized, right? And these are also years, centuries long, kind of like back and forth, Field and McCoy kind of like tactic that they have been going through as well for centuries.
This is
right. So I also wanted to provide that context.
Yeah, but this is the context is quite powerful because it would seem then that being federally recognized would make the tribe or people who are connected to the tribe, give them access to certain benefits. Okay, they're able to make claim against something. So is that the case? So therefore, it was not in the interest in America for many people for people to be able to claim any benefit. So, but do you think that's part of it as well? Or to make any claim, land claim or whatever the case is. And you said some federal funding. Do you think that would be part of? Yeah.
The land, they have maintained it throughout North Carolina.
Okay.
For a very, very long time. And again, this would go back to the Chevron in Virginia, and even when they split and ended up intermarrying with other tribes, such as the Catawba, such as the Waxhaw, who have absolutely disappeared, the Sigourney, who have disappeared, the Tongaree.
What do you mean by they disappear? You mean that because
they failed to exist. They certainly didn't die of smallpox, but they failed to maintain their status as a tribe.
Okay.
These are people that had to go underground and could not say that they were Indian. They had no control over the registrar of their state, especially during Walter Plecker's long run.
Okay.
Yeah.
And these are absolutely things that tied into political economic policy, right? That started about 2 years, like you said, Moon, before racial integrity, before the Snyder Act in 1924. Like these were all political structures that absolutely boxed the Indian out and misclassified them as colored, black, or Negro.
Okay. Yes. And by the way, you mentioned something about Cherokee, and the Lumbee people were grouped in as Cherokee. So Cherokee is a different tribe than the Lumbee tribe. Is that correct?
But that is because there's the bloodline, and then there are the people that were invited into the quote unquote nation.
Okay. And the Lumbee people were once referred to as the people of dark water. Is that correct? If that's okay, what's the significance behind that name?
There is a swamp, Blackwater Swamp.
Okay.
There are different swamps that could be likened to at the time. When the flora and fauna was different in abundance, and the forestry was, a lot more grand than it is now. Even though North Carolina kept a lot of things preserved. The Lumbee were also the Croatan, right? And the Croatans go back to when Sir Walter Raleigh came here, and they looked for the so-called lost colony of Indians. And a lot of them dispersed, and they actually went to England and different parts of Europe too. A lot of things that they don't talk about. Which my next thing is going to be that they, these are the people that got kicked out and transported. Anybody that had ancestry or any sort of relativity, genealogy, they were sent back to the place of their ancestors, which may include some Scottish, Irish, and other European entities that did marry Indian too.
Oh, that's and by the way, many people. Well, I mean, I don't know if maybe you can correct me. I think I mentioned that in a previous conversation I had with you that many people do not realize that Indigenous history and African American history may have some connection in the sense that I read where the Lumbee community may have harbored escaped enslaved Africans prior to emancipation and Juneteenth. Is that historically accurate? And can you speak about the relationship between Indigenous peoples and African Americans? Briefly, of course.
Well, I can also say that in particular, a lot of them that people that they're calling African are Europeans.
Ah.
They're Europeans. Different remnants of people that did their destiny swap.
Right.
Okay. But I mean, are you hearing this news about the Lumbee tribe before slavery was abolished in the U.S. became illegal? Are you hearing that the Lumbee tribe harbored escaped slaves?
They kind of just let people do what they do as long as they went by the rules.
Okay.
If you ask me.
Yes.
And then, Moan, I also wanted to piggyback on what you were saying in terms of the free white European slaves and everything. Like one book that I lean heavily on, you might be interested in, Renaldo, is The Forgotten Cause of the Civil War by Lawrence Tensor, where it talks about at the beginning of the Civil War in 1860, there were actually more folks that looked pale-faced, right, who were enslaved versus quote unquote individuals that look like us, either Negro or American Indian or what have you, right?
Yeah.
So I also want to challenge us and your listening audience, right, to get out of the notion that when we hear slave, that should get an image that looks like me, you, or Phoenix in our head. Because there's absolutely people that look like Kate Middleton or Drake who were enslaved. Yeah. And it was legal at the time. I don't agree with it, but it was absolutely legal. Yeah.
People that look like Donald Trump pitted with smallpox.
Many of the Irish people, and then of course Chinese came as indentured laborers as well as the Indians.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely came to the West Indies. Absolutely came to the Americas. Right.
And now you mentioned something about the characteristic of the Lumbee tribe. Many, as it relates to resistance, many remember the 1958 Battle of Hayes Pond, where the Lumbee reportedly confronted and drove the KKK out of their community, out of their land. Do you know? Are you aware of that? Can you do any historical importance?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
they sure did.
What happened? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I just know that was the point where nobody bothered them again. I'm gonna just say that, and this is 100 plus years later. They were able to maintain.
Yeah.
And again, sustain themselves. Impressive, impeccable, and again, fully traceable. That's what the benefit is. So the Lumbee receiving federal recognition now. It has been a long time coming. But I will tell you what, even down to the Cole family, right? Because that was one of the KKK members that started the rally thinking that he was going to intimidate them. And this is when my family was still there. They're also on a special census, I believe in the 1910s, 20s, and 30s. And they were calling them Pelicans then. Yeah, and this was still years later. That was post-Civil War, Hayes Pond. But they were still mad at some of the Confederacy. There was a lot of hostility, more than I think that they exposed. And maybe we could go deeper on that at another time.
Definitely. We are running out of time, but we have about probably 2 more questions. But by the way, are the Lumbee people primarily concentrated in North Carolina, or are there communities across the U.S. where they can be found?
They are predominantly in North Carolina, in Maxton, in the town of Maxton, and all over Robeson County. However, there are Lumbee scattered. Like like I said, I got Lumbee blood. I'm a Lumbee. I'm in New York. That's part of my design as well.
Right. And they classify themselves as urban Indians too, as they classify themselves ethnically as Lumbee, right?
Yes.
The American Indian, or the urban Indian aspect is their political status.
Okay.
Them claiming that Lumbee ancestry is their ethnicity.
Okay. That's quite... I'm happy you're answering that, because I was about to ask you what practical changes come with federal recognition. I think I asked you that a little bit, but I think you went deeper talking about what it means ethnically and politically, and in terms of healthcare and cultural preservation, that is, and economic opportunities.
Where we Urban Indian Heritage Society also deals with health and human services, which Urban Indian Healthcare runs that program. And we are definitely boots on the ground in terms of being able to facilitate how urban Indians are able to not only receive care, but change some of the things that are happening now throughout healthcare, right? Because now that they have, the federal government now has what they call whole person wellness, right? Which includes mental health and all sorts of things. And those are some of the gaps that we are proposing to fill.
Okay.
Not just in North Carolina, but wherever we are, and that also includes community development.
Yeah. And I know you recently, you guys did some travels recently. I know I spoke with Dr. Nolan. You were in another state recently. You guys have been traveling throughout, connecting people and connecting tribes and learning from different people and working and doing other work, which is quite remarkable. But by the way, some critics argue that America has historically misclassified indigenous people, and of course, you've alluded to that in this conversation, in this interview, particularly urban indigenous populations and people of mixed ancestry. Now, your organization launched a petition. I don't remember how long, was it 2021 or 22, regarding indigenous misclassification and reclassification efforts. Tell us about your campaign and where things currently stand. I don't know who wants to go. Dr. Nolan,
Yeah.
I know you were talking about that some time ago, but yeah, you want to, where things currently stand with that? Yes.
In terms of the petition?
Yes.
Well, the petition has recently hit 11.5K, a little bit more than that. So we've been continuing to discuss the petition and all of the entry points that we've outlined. And we've also began, other than just quoting spaces online, we began operationalizing it. So either having these conversations in person or with news affiliates like you, and also showing up in person, in terms of civics and polity. Like I was telling you that we recently were on the road. All the things that we're doing are absolutely aspects in terms of that's captured in our petition and everything. So we are on the move in terms of progressing our petition to lawmakers in DC.
Okay.
More, I don't know how much you want to share. I'll actually, allow you to share if you want to add any more or give your 2 cents. But yeah, the petition is definitely on the move.
So you guys
hopefully nearing 12K before the end of the month.
You guys gonna send this to Congress?
Absolutely.
Already.
Pretty much there.
Yeah.
So you're saying that it's already there. You have sent the petition to them, and you are working with some lawmakers to make a bill as it relates to the reclassification of misclassification of people and the reclassification.
Yeah, we can't tell you too much, Renaldo, because it's definitely some insurgents out there. That's my own favorite word. Definitely some insurgents, but it absolutely has made its way to DC, and us and some of our partnering organizations and colleagues, we are preparing to have those conversations in DC with lawmakers and others.
Wow. The Neoliberal Round and the Neoliberal wants to be integrally involved in the news. Please provide us with any updates, because this will be breaking as we think about this. By the way, what are some of the biggest issues facing Indigenous communities today that mainstream America still does not fully understand? What are some of the biggest issues facing Indigenous communities today that mainstream America still does not fully understand? Anybody want to crack that real quick?
With identification.
Okay.
Right? I would start with that. That is absolutely a problem. And secondly, which goes directly with that, is the truth. Let the truth be told. Let the truth be told.
Yes. And
it should be.
Yeah.
And if these other people have been telling the truth, well, they don't have anything to worry about.
Well, I mean, that goes into my next question: is how can non-Indigenous Americans support Indigenous communities beyond symbolic gestures and land acknowledgements?
Definitely, sign a petition, donate, come volunteer. There's a lot of work to be done.
Okay.
Come in, donate some services. What is it that you do? Send your resume. We can use help. You about truth and justice? Come through. Good integrity? Come through. We welcome people.
And how can people donate, and how can people find your organization? And by the way, another question is, what if somebody
wants on the donation?
Yeah. Yeah. How can people donate? How can people get involved? How can people sign the petition? And how can people find out if they are actually urban Indians?
Definitely, they could. We do have a PayPal. We have Cash App. We have a business account. You can certainly donate to there if you like. And our website, we have the information there. You can contact us through there if you like. Ask any questions. We have an active phone number. We'll definitely respond and get back to you. But yeah, we just, again, looking for the right people character-wise as well. You need to be able to pass the background check,
Yes.
We're doing things, that would be pleasing to the Creator.
And I know, and if people want to find out if they are urban, if they have any connection to American Indians or to urban Indians, of course they don't have to go to ancestry.com. They won't find that information, right? They could actually directly reach out to you guys You guys perform that
Yeah.
heritage work, or tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we work with families. We don't do individual genealogy. We work with families. For somebody that is, let's say they're 25, 30, there's not going to be a lot of information and their parents are barely 50 years old, right?
Yeah.
What is there going to be? There might be some phone books, the old white pages or yellow pages if they had a business or whatever, naming their address and stuff like that. But you're kind of really limited. To find things in antiquity, you'd have to deal with the oldest person in your family because that's who has the information. It'd be helpful if you want to talk about the 1800s to have a conversation with somebody that hugged somebody that was from the 1800s, right? That was born 1899 or 1855. Like, those are the things. It has to come through the family. You can't do it alone. And you need the information, good, bad, or indifferent.
Yes, Dr. Nolan, you want to add to that? Yeah, you're agreeing with in terms of how that can be done in terms of connecting with family.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In terms of just shifting our focus from individuals to families was something that was near and dear to us because, to have this conversation, like, you got to include grandma, you got to include auntie, you got to include grandpa. And sometimes they're the only ones that have that primary source documentation or that oral history that our elders bestowed on them. Sometimes, they might got that phone book that Phoenix was talking about, to substantiate where your family.
Are you there? Are you there?
Yes, I am.
I can't tell you how many times I found certain places on my grandparents' birth certificates where they were born that don't exist anymore. Or now it's only a specific neighborhood and a city that exists somewhere in, a state like in Maryland or in North Carolina or Virginia.
Yeah.
Right. So those certain, like, it's not only American Indians that are being misclassified, it's actually American Indian places and spaces that are being misclassified. And sometimes you need somebody that's a little bit older than 50, an uncle, auntie, a grandmama, grandpa, or somebody, an older cousin that's going to tell you that drop.
Yes. Well, thank you.
AI ain't going to do it. The real AI is the real American Indian. We the real AI, baby. Shout out to Allen Iverson too.
Yes, Allen Iverson. He's an urban Indian, and of course, Kyrie Irving. But by the way, Urban Indian Heritage Society, they have a website which is Urban Indian Heritage Society .org.
Yeah.
Right, and by the way, it's not UIHS. Some time ago, I went online trying to find UIHS.org. I came up with a hospital network. There's a UIHS.org. That's a hospital network. So, but
yeah, not them.
Yeah,
I was the Urban Indian.
You have to type out Urban Indian Heritage Society.org to get to get to your website. Correct? Yes.
Correct. You got to start the whole thing out like a Tribe Called Quest.
Urban Indian Heritage Society.org. You can give them a call. What's the number people can reach you at?
917-830-4699.
4699. And so you can give them a call Mondays to Fridays. Are you also available on weekends?
Yes, that's when most calls get returned.
Okay, all right. Please give them a call, and of course, if what's your PayPal if people want to donate, and your Cash App, is it Urban Indian Heritage Society?
Actually, let me check.
Yes, if people want to donate, let us know. The petition is also available. If you go to their website, Urban Indian Heritage Society, I think the petition is also there. You can click on the petition, and it will take you to the actual petition where you can sign So please check out the petition, read the petition, and it's still going on. And anything else in terms, they will be at the Jamaica. They'll be taking one of my classes next week. So I'm looking forward to that. We will share some of what they have to discuss with the class. But any final word before we wrap up? Any final? What message would you like to leave with listeners about Indigenous history, resilience, and the future?
We are Urban Indian Heritage on Cash App. You'll see our logo. And what was your question?
So Urban Indian Heritage. Okay. And and finally, what message would you like to leave with listeners about Indigenous history, resilience, and the future? What final message would you like to leave with us before we wrap up? As we wrap up.
I have one. I do know that most of your audience is Carib. I want to find the descendants of Nanny and Cujo. It is very important. We would love to work with y'all and see who has them 15,000 plus acres that go to their descendants.
Okay.
That's what I want to leave with y'all.
I absolutely want to know about the royal families of the Caribbean that existed prior to colonial interruption. So I'm hoping that, especially with our upcoming guest lecture, that we can help some of your students really crack the code and break the glass ceiling. I know, it's been certain times where I didn't hit a brick wall in terms of genealogy, so we're looking forward to getting down to the nitty gritty with them.
Yeah. Oh wow, this is intense. Oh, many people. I mean, many governments and leaders and this people on the status quo they don't want us to know who have land, and of course, so it's not important for them to reveal the truth and to or to facilitate any initiative towards that. But we are hoping that with the work you are doing, and with what we are doing in terms of providing education that facilitates this kind of information, we will be able to come to the full to understand what is the truth, what is truth. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for coming on the Neoliberal Round podcast. We haven't had you guys in a while. This is an audio episode. There will be we've had them before, and it's just a pleasure, it's a treat learning about what they're doing and that the Lumbee tribe is federally recognized. Give them a call. And this is the Neoliberal Round podcast. We're all about serving the world today to solve tomorrow's challenges by making popular what was the monopoly. And of course, the story of the Lumbee tribe reminds us that recognition delayed is not recognition denied forever. From survival through colonization and segregation, to resistance at Hayes Pond to recognition in Congress, this history speaks to resilience, memory, and identity. Today's discussion reminds us that Indigenous history is not buried in the past. It is alive, evolving, and still being written. What good? Thank you guys, and that's it for the podcast. Thank you so much.
Always, Renaldo.
I'm gonna edit this, and
Thank you.
it's 48 minutes of conversation.